Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this broadcast on a fine Wednesday evening here in Sydney. It's gone dark outside, and this is the perfect place for me to be. And I'm coming to you from the land of the Gadigal and Bidigal people, and acknowledge that everything Milly is doing is all about caring for country, and particularly caring for that incredible interface between the land and the sea, and the importance of wetlands and estuaries and mangroves and all of those places where those wonderful shorebirds that she loves and is supporting so dearly live and refuel on their epic journey for many more than 20,000 kilometres annually, which for those of you that are joining in for the first time, that's exactly what Milly's journey around Australia is about. The 20,000 kilometre circumnavigation is about the same distance that shorebirds travel every year. And there's so much to learn from the birds about our ecosystems, about our planet, and about our lives particularly. So please let me know what country you are joining us from. What Indigenous country are you on, and what town? And where are you coming in from? I can see Karen's here from the Sunshine Coast. We've got Una Sandman from Quandamoka, Sash from Adelaide. Hello from Tasmania, Amanda Brown. Lovely to see you, Amanda. Spencer, all the way from the Sunshine Coast. Save our sunrise glossies, an absolute champion. Spencer, lovely to see you here. Leah Robinson, how are you? Fiona Marchand from Tassie. Rick, good to see you, Rick. And Reese. Sash mentioned. Oh, and Andy and Mandy from Kalamunda Garden Festival. Anyone over in WA? Kalamunda Garden Festival is not far away, a couple of weeks now. That first weekend in first Sunday in September, in spring. Big welcome to you guys, and thanks for letting us know. We've got Leah's on Turrbal country, Fiona's in Devonport, Yugambeh language region. Ange, I was up visiting Ange and at the and Chase at the Botanical Bazaar. Greetings to everyone from up there. Hello from Bribie Island, Jundabori country. Thank you, Kathleen. Great to have you join us. Wow, lots of people coming in. Badalla, Ewan country. Welcome, Lindy. I'm visiting Jervis Bay from Bunurong in Victoria, Phillip Island. Badalla, Sally in Currarong. Welcome, Sally. Well, so really excited to do an update with Milly. She's here with us. I'm not going to wait any longer because I'm super pumped to catch up with Milly, hear how she's going, and hear about the current. As you saw in the post, there's been a new twist in the story, and we're going to have a bit of a yarn about it. So everyone, give a big welcome, Milly. Here she is.
Hello. How you doing? Hey, Costa.
Look, you're backlit. It's still daylight up there. I'm in the darkness here in Sydney, and you are shining, Milly Formby.
Yes, I'm joining you from Larrakia country in Darwin.
Yes,
and you can probably hear the planes up there. Yeah.
I can hear some birds.
Oh, can you?
So Milly, how's things? Welcome to our yarn. I'm very excited that because I was only saying to you last week, we were saying, let's tee something up for this week. And of course, here we are, it's midweek and we're ready to roll, and you're off to do a chat to, is it one of the birding groups tonight?
Yes, the Field Gnats of Darwin. I'm going to be talking with Amanda Lillyman. Amanda's going to be talking about Darwin City of Birds. They're trying to change the name of the slogan for Darwin to City of Birds instead of City of People, City of Colour. And people might have heard it this morning on ABC Darwin Radio talking about that. So if you're in Darwin, come on down to, is it Charles Darwin Uni? Yep, at Charles Darwin Uni tonight. She'll be speaking and I'll be joining her.
Oh, that's fantastic. City of Birds. Yeah. What a great way to raise awareness.
Yeah, absolutely. And they were talking about getting number plates for cars with different birds on them for City of Birds. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'd be way into that. I mean, these are those sorts of little initiatives that can suddenly open up a whole new understanding for locals, because I mean, Darwin is a hub. I mean, you've got birds coming across, like they're crossing borders just, to the north, and then they head further south. And I mean, Darwin's an important node in their travels.
Absolutely, yeah. I think there's over 300 species of birds just here in Darwin.
I battle away to identify birds, and when I'm catching up with Spencer, and Spencer's always just going, "Oh yeah, have a look at this. Yeah, there's a so and so Costa, and there's a so and so," and he goes, "Oh, I can hear this one, I can hear that one," and it's just a joy. The more you know, the more you can learn.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Ange said, "I'd move there just to have a bird on my number plate."
I think it's a valid motivation to move interstate.
That's it. A mass exodus from the south to the north.
Just to have a bird on your number plate, yeah.
Narelle said that the first black cockatoos have arrived in Holloway's Bay Beach in Cairns.
Oh, fantastic.
That's great, Narelle. Yeah, wow, there's lots of comments. Everyone's really happy to see you, Milly, as I am as well. And yeah, there was a little bit of a clue in the post today that you've had some challenges of late, and these challenges came to sorry, Narelle, Jabaroo. These challenges have come to a little bit of a head. Can you give us a bit of background about your trusty vehicle?
Yeah, so my trusty vehicle is not so trusty anymore. She limped into Darwin. It was giving me some trouble, misfiring, and on the way through Central Northern Territory, I guess, through Tennant Creek and up through Catherine, it was misfiring, and limped into Darwin running on 2 cylinders, and took it to the mechanics. And we thought it was just a couple of coils to start with, but it was still misfiring. And after that repair, it turned out to be a blown head gasket. So the car is not worth repairing. So the vehicle is a dud. I've got no car anymore. Yeah.
Okay. So that's as you mentioned, that's a fairly major problem.
Yeah. Yes. Just a little bit.
Yeah, and I think for everyone listening, as I did mention in the post, I think this is a wonderful opportunity for us as Milly's network and all of those people. I mean, you've traveled how many thousands of kilometers right around the southern tip of Australia, all the way up to the north, and now you're literally about to make your way back down to Perth where you started. You have engaged and interacted with so many people. And I think, here's this chance for everyone to think about who in their network may be able to help Milly. And wow. I suppose, there's so many angles to this. It could be that someone has a car that they're looking to move on, or someone works in a business or an enterprise or there could be someone else that's willing to make a sponsorship and come in at this back end, a very valuable place to come in at the back end of this amazing journey as you then finish this and take it to the next level of broadcast and documentation and so on. So, you know, for everyone listening, there's this real chance for us to think about who we have and who we know. What are some of the thoughts? I mean, it's early days. It's barely been 24 hours for you. Jabaroo has said a free car is needed for our amazing Milly.
Well, I had some good news earlier today, Costa.
What, already?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Really? What's happened? Tell me.
So my friend Keith, who was planning to ground crew for me from Broome to Perth anyway, he was going to fly up to Broome and drive my car back for me. He just emailed me and said, "Do you need a lift, Milly? I can be in Darwin in 4 days." And so he's leaving Perth tomorrow at sunrise to drive up with his four-wheel drive. And Keith is a hang glider pilot, so his car's already fitted out with all the gear needed to carry my wing on the roof rack. So Keith is now going to ground crew for me from Darwin back to Perth. And all I'll have to do is take my car, I guess, to the wreckers or something in the next 4 days. So that's amazing news for me. It means I can finish the trip.
Wow. You know, literally. So everyone, Milly and I were planning to do this broadcast, and then Milly rang me or texted me on Monday and said, "Look, I've got to do this talk," because we were planning it for about 7:00, and she said, "I've got to do this talk. Can you do it earlier?" And I basically was going to ring Milly this morning and say, "Well, look, not if it's going to hassle you to get to your talk. You know, we can put it back a few days." And then Milly rings me before I rang her and told me this news.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, we both agreed, well, we've got to do it tonight to put the word out there to see what the network can provide."
I know.
You may come up with something. And now you've told me this. Like we spoke at 9:00 this morning and it's now 6:00. And you know, like, that's what a fantastic result, Milly.
I know. Yeah, it's just amazing. And I've had such a warm response from the whole Wing Threads community as well. Like, and I've seen a few messages just in the comments for this live stream too. People saying a free car for Milly and Toyota sponsor Milly, and people on Facebook and Instagram all saying start another GoFundMe. We're all happy to chip in money to help you get another car and things like that. So that's been really heartwarming just to know I've got those people behind me who are ready to help out when needed. But I think Keith coming up and taking me back with his car is the simplest and most straightforward solution. So
yeah, and as we talked about this morning, like, you know, to take, you know, your own, to make a decision under duress to suddenly say, "Oh, well, I've got to buy something," and you know, do I want to buy something, and what am I going to buy? And this is, you know, you're about to head to Perth and bunk down for a little while, and to dump all this money in a car because you have to do it urgently. It's kind of would be not the healthiest way to do it, you know, like, and that was something that I know we yarned about this morning, that yeah, you just don't need to sort of drop a whole lot of money into something that, you know, you're not necessarily needing for that next little chapter once you get back to Perth and settle down and then work out what's going to happen. And manifesting a car was kind of like not buying a car, but manifesting one. And all powers to you. 9 hours and it's done.
Yeah, I know. I was just like, oh my God, I didn't even think of asking Keith or another trike pilot or somebody who already had their car set up to do such a job. I also had someone else email me and let me know that they had a friend in Darwin who had a friend with a 4-wheel drive just sitting in their garage that they might be able to loan me. I had people putting the word out to contacts at mining corporations that might have a vehicle that they needed transported from one place to another that I could borrow. I had Margie, she was trying to see if some of the 4-wheel drive guys on Channel 10 might be able to help me out. So I really had people going above and beyond to try and help me out, to try and figure out a solution. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there's a really good brains trust here for Wing Threads. And I also had that my friends I'm staying with, Chris and Mick with me, who are also trying to nut out ways to help me out. So yeah, it's just been really amazing.
Karen said, "You've manifested a car. Why not try for a lotto win?"
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, Karen. That would well and truly help with the documentary and the of course the ongoing television series about birding and whatever else it is that is is all part of the dream list. So yeah, we'll work on that in the next 9 hours, Karen.
Yeah,
the car was pretty, that was just a warm up for the bigger pieces.
Yeah, I'll worry about getting a car now when I get back to Perth, so it'll be all right.
Yeah, exactly. And getting a vehicle that you get when you're ready and that you choose for those reasons, not because you've just got to quickly get back on the road and complete the trip. Summer Farrelly says Keith is a legend. Hello, Summer.
Hi, Summer.
Yeah. Lovely to see you.
Keith was one of the first people saying, start a GoFundMe, Milly, I'll share it and help you out. And so thanks, Summer.
Yeah, good on you, Summer.
Yeah.
Dazzy Bear, safe and healthy vibes. And I see my buddy from out in Gippsland, Robbie Beale. Welcome, Robbie. Big cheerio to you. I'm sure you would have possibly had someone out there in Gippsland with a 4-wheel drive that could have been driven up to help Milly. See you, Genevieve. Thanks for dropping in. Una's on the run. Oh no, sorry, Javaroo. Yeah, well, it was interesting because I suppose that was the first thing that came across in our conversation, that it's not, you didn't feel comfortable about asking for more money for a car.
No.
Given, the crowdfunding was all about the funding to support the trip and enable the trip to happen, and hitting up for a car now at this stage. Yeah, I can understand why that's kind of drawing on a network that has been so forthcoming and supportive. There was always going to be another way, and it didn't take many hours for you to come up with that other way, which is fantastic.
I think it's brilliant. So yeah. And my friend Mick, he flew over to Darwin on Sunday night to join me. He was going to join me to Broome, but Mick instead has been here he's going to end up being here for a week in Darwin, and then he'll head back to Brisbane. So Keith will do the stretch from Darwin to Broome instead. So I also want to say thank you to Mick as well for being flexible and coming over to help out. Yeah. And Mick is here, actually, standing next to me. Did you want to come and say hello, Mick?
Yeah, come and say hello, Mick. We need to clock you.
Hey, yeah. G'day, how are you?
Hello, Mick.
You there?
Good on you for coming up, and who'd have guessed that they would be calling on a substitution before you even got to run on the field.
No, it's just so good that there's people around to support her and carry around and make the thing happen, because she does an amazing job, because it's not just, oh yeah, get in your vehicle and go around Australia. It's fight the weather and fight the, all different sorts of things that you've got to take into consideration. So amazing person, doing an amazing job for the shorebirds, See, so the eastern curlews there, so Tinder,
Yes. Hey, Mick.
Save Lee Point, get into Lee Point.
Yeah, save Lee Point.
Exactly. I mean, there's Lee Point, there's Toondah, there's so many places. There's Grass Tree Court that Spencer's been. There's so many. I think this has been an amazing side of Milly's trip, is bringing so many people together, who are all really committed to protecting our landscapes. And Mick, tell us a little bit about your background.
I met this amazing bloke at St. Lawrence Wetlands Day. He had a long beard, and he was up there a couple of years ago in central Queensland.
That's right.
You wouldn't know me, but I saw you there. I was there with BirdLife Capricornia.
Yes. And, yes. Was
that
when
you're doing fantastic? Go ahead.
Yeah. The St. Lawrence Wetlands Festival is just growing and growing, and they're now, getting into some wonderful revegetation work with the Indigenous custodians there, and there's just so many new layers coming to that festival, and it's everything that you and Milly really work hard to do in terms of bird life and supporting the landscapes that these birds need. And I love that festival, and I think it's just going to keep growing.
Oh, thanks for going up there. It's out in the sticks. It's not just an easy place to get to. So it's great that people like you support things like that. And we find out that there's wildlife all over Australia. Yeah.
Well, that's right. And when we can amplify these messages and connect these places, and that's really what the thread in the wings is all about. Milly's threading these groups together, and whether it's Toondah or Lee Point, or as I said, Grass Tree Court, or all of these different sort of flashpoints. It's kind of really valuable to see a community like this being able to get the message out there.
Yeah, it is. It's all those connections, and when you look at the shorebirds, it's the connections all the way to Siberia. When you look at the East Asian Australasian flyway. So thanks for your work anyway. I'll get out of here. I don't need to be on the screen.
Okay.
See ya.
Mick. Love your work, Mick. Thank you. Look at him. Oh, that was a treat. Yeah. What a treat to have Mick there.
Yeah, it is a treat to have Mick here. Yeah. And we are doing lots of birding around Darwin, someone asked. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you are? Yeah. There's a little call out to Arjuna. Hello, Arjuna. Good on you for being a bird watcher. Milly and I are proud of you.
Hello, Arjuna. Hi, Jeffrey. Cool.
So I suppose, Milly, we need more Mick, says Holly. Cameo Mick. Yeah, exactly. That was a great cameo. I love it. Cool. And his T-shirt. I want that T-shirt. I definitely want that T-shirt. See you later, Una. Thanks for coming along and for contributing to the juju that has helped solve Milly's problem.
Thank you.
So, Milly, bring everyone up to speed. I suppose we're all keen to hear about what the next leg has in store. How did this last leg play out from, I suppose I last saw you when we last chatted. We last chatted in Townsville
Townsville. I know. That feels like ages ago, which I guess
It
it was.
does.
It was probably about 12 weeks ago, which is pretty amazing to think it's been that long.
Oh
So
my
I
God.
got stuck in Townsville for 4 weeks in the end, and just because of the weather, and I ended up driving up to Cairns and doing all of my school visits up at Cairns just to get in before the school holidays started. And then towards the end of June, the weather came good up at Cairns because I was being delayed by cloud and rain and wind up at Cairns because Townsville weather was magic. It was up at Cairns that was. So I managed to get through at the end of June and started heading across the top of the Cape in July. Went through Normanton and at Normanton, I ended up accidentally eating gluten and getting gluten to getting sick up there. And so Grant and I had to drive to Mount Isa so that I could get the food I needed to be well, because it just wasn't gluten-free food in central, northern Queensland that was stuff I could eat. And then from Mount Isa, we headed across to Tennant Creek and then up through Elliot and Daly Waters, and got to Mataranka. And I was going to fly through Catherine up to MKT, but I'm a bit late in the year, later than I expected. And the conditions in central Northern Territory, or just the top end in general, actually quite challenging for microlights. So what happens here is in the wintertime, you get what's called low-level jet stream, which is high winds at low level. In the morning, first thing in the morning, they usually stop about noon, and then in the afternoon, all the hot thermals, the hot weather starts, and you've got the thermal activity, and you've got cloud, and it starts to get windy again. So it just cuts out any flying in the morning and any flying in the afternoon. It's really challenging. So I ended up, such a challenge. So I ended up driving from Mataranka up to Darwin, and I've been in Darwin now for a couple of weeks. So I pretty much limped into Darwin. The car was giving me trouble as well. And I think when Keith gets here, what I'll do, I'll have to drive back down again as well and across to Kununurra, and we'll set the microlight up at Kununurra, and I'll continue on from there. So there'll be a little bit of a gap where I didn't actually fly between Mataranka and Kununurra, but I feel that the aim of this project has always been about community engagement. And, talking to kids about shorebirds, it's not about breaking a world record or doing some mega solo flight or anything like that. I mean, whatever I achieve, I think is pretty amazing anyway. So the flying side of things has always been secondary to the community engagement. So that's the plan for next week. And I just saw Ange said you can always come back one day. I could just drive back to Mataranka and set the trike up, fly to Kununurra, and I'll be like, sweet.
Yeah, exactly.
The other problem with Catherine is that it's a big military base, and they're running an operation at the moment called Talisman Sabre. So there's a lot of military aircraft flying around at the moment, and it's not really somewhere you want to be in a microlight. So
yeah, you're not coming up on their radar.
Oh no, you do, but
Do you?
You still just don't want to be flying around with those guys in the air. So.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
Now Spencer asked, what birds have you seen in Darwin?
Oh, I have seen what birds. I've got quite a few new lifers, Spencer. We saw Gouldy and finches the other day at Lee Point, which was really exciting. So I did camp at Lee Point for a couple of nights to support the protest that was going on there, and the Friends of Lee Point were running bird walks, guided bird walks every afternoon at 5, and the Gouldy and finches was showing up in the afternoon regularly with masked finches, which was pretty lovely. So I got to see them, seen northern rosellas, the Teresian imperial pigeons. We've got the orange-footed scrubfowl, managed to get a grey whistler and a rainbow pitter as well. What else have we got up here? The silver-crowned friarbirds, painted finches I got down in Mount Isa. but it's not top end, is it? So yeah, heaps of birds. It's just been incredible. Lee Point is an amazing spot for birds. There's also it's a key biodiversity area for shorebirds, and there was a good 2,000 shorebirds on the beach. Even though it's wintertime here, there's still 2,000 birds overwintering here. There was great knots, eastern curlews, greater sandplover, red knot, saw some ruddy turnstones and Terek sandpipers. So that's pretty amazing. I'd love to be here in the summer when we're talking tens of thousands of shorebirds on the beach instead. So yeah, Darwin is an amazing place for birds and bird watching.
Oh wow! Yeah, there's lots of comments coming up. Sarah Jane said, "Don't look so serious, Costa." I'm reading. It's because I'm listening and reading. So, and I think because I got this dark top on, suddenly you can't actually see where my face begins and ends. So I look a bit like Grug and a gremlin, and I might look more serious. But no. Thanks, Sarah Jean. I'm not serious. I'm just reading the comments, and so I suppose when I read the comments, I must be going.
Yeah, I think so.
Which is very funny. What's Spencer? I've never seen any of those apart from the Taurisian imperial pigeon. Lee Point's incredible. Wow.
It is incredible. Yes. Yeah. Very specky. Yeah.
Ange asked, did you come across flocks of cockatiels in Bundaberg?
Not at Bundaberg. I came across massive flocks of cockatiels and budgerigars when I was driving across to Burketown. So I did a bit of a weekender trip across to Burketown from Normanton. And yeah, you'd just be driving along and all these huge flocks of cockatiels would just come up off the side of the road. It was incredible.
Wow.
I love cockatiels. Seeing wild cockatiels and budgies is pretty specky. Yeah.
Yeah. Giovanni's just saying, of course, the more flowers he's planting in the pollinator garden, the more variety of birds that are coming in. That's
sure.
it. That's exactly it, Giovanni. I mean, when we all start doing that, we all start to feed the biodiversity and the regeneration more than anything else. And Carol Marshall, yes, the good news is the car issue is fixed. And for anyone who just joined in and might have missed a little earlier, Milly's car issue has been resolved because she now has a new support crew, and that support driver is driving up from Perth to meet her with their four-wheel drive and drive the journey back to Perth from Darwin. And the other thing that Milly was conscious of, it wasn't just a straight four-wheel drive. She also needed to modify it to carry the trailer that she has. So she needed a specific tow bar at a certain height to carry the trailer that the Microlight sits in when she's carting it. And then she also needs on the front bull bar a special fixture, which is a bit like what you sometimes see on plumbing vehicles and things, that has an arm coming up and a tray that the long wings, because the poles of the Microlight are quite long, aren't they, Milly?
Yeah, it's about 6 meters long, the wing folded up, and it goes on the roof rack. So you just got to have a T-bar on the front. And Keith is a hang glider pilot, so his car's already set up for carrying hang glider wings, which is the same as what my Microlight wing is. He sent me a photo earlier this afternoon and said, ready to go, it can carry 4 hang gliders. So I just needed to carry one. That's good.
Anyone else willing to be ground crew can sit on that long 6 meter bar and just cruise down the road with so that will be Keith. Whereas Mick, for anyone who saw earlier, Mick was the appointed ground crew, and now that Keith has come in to resolve the car issue, Mick is humbly returning to where was he? The Sunshine Coast.
Brisbane, yeah.
Oh, Brisbane.
So we're gonna go do a few things for the Darwin Festival this weekend before he goes.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
That's nice.
Now, given that we're talking WA, big greetings there to my friends at the Nannup Flower and Garden Festival, which I am heading towards tomorrow. I'm flying over to Perth tomorrow ahead of heading down to the southwest to Nannup, one of my favourite places in the country, for their Flower and Garden Festival. So anyone from WA, get on down. It's on this weekend, and then it also runs. So there was last weekend, this weekend, and next weekend, I believe. Yeah, I think it's 3 weekends, and I'm in the middle weekend, and I'm looking forward to it. So Megan Gay, who just said, hopefully meet you. Not hopefully, Megan. No hope.
You will.
Hope. I'll meet you. Hope is deferring possibility. No possibility. I will be there. If you get there, find me and say I saw you on the live broadcast, and you're part of the Wing Threads family now. So you got to come and say hello, and I'll be talking about this down there anyway. I'll take Milly's. Oh, look here. Actually, I need to get this out because I unloaded my bag and dumped it on the table. I'll be taking this book, and when I do my Cost of the Garden Gnome random activities in the community garden with the children, I will be reading the book to them and talking to them about the book. So PUMPED, pumped about that. And Jackie Kerrin, I noticed, said a comment on one of Jackie was the co-author with Milly of a shorebird adventure, flying adventure, and she sends her best wishes as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jackie.
So I shall see you, Megan, at the festival on Sunday and Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be a hoot. It's going to be rather envious of your travels. Yes. Well, how are you feeling, Milly, about how are you feeling about getting back?
Oh my gosh.
living in a one bed in one place for a while and sort of finishing on the road.
I suppose it's mixed feelings, isn't it? It's been over 12 months that I've been doing this trip, that I've been traveling. So I am feeling keen to get back home and have some routine and get back to the normality of life and be able to, just work in a regular job and earn a regular wage and all of those things. I think doing something like this really puts into perspective the lovely things about just the ordinariness of life, being at home. And I think I will appreciate those things a lot more when I get back. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. But then there's also the I'll miss it. I can tell that I'm going to miss being on the road as well, and the adventure and the excitement of all that. It will be really great though, having Keith there with his car and knowing that I've got a reliable car to get back home will definitely take some of the stress of this project off my plate, because not having a reliable car for the last little bit has been a added stress, considering everything else that I've had to manage as well. So yeah, definitely mixed feelings. I'm really pumped to get back to WA. I think once I'm back in WA, I'll start to feel like I'm back at home again already. So really pumped for that. And I love the Kimberley so much. So excited to be traveling through there and with one of my friends as well. Like, how much fun is that? Keith and I had a fantastic time when he ground crewed for me last year from Esperance to Gawler. And it's pretty funny actually that Keith is joining me again pretty much exactly 1 year since he joined me last year. He's coming to ground crew as well, so that's pretty huge. And so yeah, pumped for the next part of the journey, and I think it will be pretty sweet to get back home again.
Wow, it's pretty amazing, isn't it, Milly? Like, when you talk about a year, like, it was a year in May, so June,
Yeah.
July, August. So we're moving into the 15th month.
Yeah.
That's a massive period of time that you
Yeah.
have been so focused and committed and just on, with the exception of, okay, when you pulled up over the Christmas, New Year when the schools were closed and everyone's on holidays, but you were still planning and organizing and yeah, I'm just thinking, wow, yeah, I remember when I went to White Gums and that was mid-May. That was
Oh my
early
gosh.
mid-May last year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and we're now heading towards September. So May's
I
in
know.
the rearview mirror as a year.
Oh my gosh.
What
Yep.
a period of time. Incredible. And it just seems normal enough that a hiccup like this car situation would get resolved, because there's just too much goodwill behind you and everything that you've invested and the spirit with which you've done it, and how much you've given over the last 15 months to the communities around the country. Yeah, wow. I can just imagine when you do finally get to a place in Perth and you can say, "Oh, I'm actually bunkered down, and I'm not about to get up early and start to
Yeah.
plan and look at the weather and wonder, am I flying today, and who's expecting me, who
Yeah.
do I have to cancel?" And yeah,
Yeah.
lots. Wow, you've had
All of the stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
it's this homeward leg is an absolute ripper. I mean, what a treat that
Yeah.
you're now coming literally down the hill.
Yes, literally down the hill. Yeah. It's going to be. I think it's going to feel good. Like every step closer, and it's just going to feel more and more amazing. And I know that when I get home, I'm going to feel all of the feels, because I have days where it's like super exciting and you fly and your adrenaline is up and you're like, this is the most amazing thing in the world. And then in between, you're juggling a lot of different things. It can be stressful. Just getting time to myself is something that I've learned that I need a lot of in my life, and managing getting that time away on my own to recharge. That's how I recharge. I am an introvert. So that's part of it as well. I've learned a lot about my own needs and things like that on this trip, and having that knowledge about myself now, being able to go home and start to create what I need for myself, to feel happy and well, and be able to have the, recharge yourself so that you have that energy to be able to give back and put out into the community. Because on this trip, I suppose there's a lot of what you would call doing the exhale, giving back to the community, and you've got to take the time to have that inhale and recharge again so that you can exhale again and give back. So I'm learning what that looks like for me, and how I can practice self-care, I suppose, has been a big part of this trip. So I'm really looking forward to be able to do that more in my own life.
Yeah. Some great comments here. Thanks, Tassie. Back to your own nest, full of the memories. And Tyler, I love this comment from Tyler. I remember being in London, first watching the stream when you're about to set off. Time flies, but your work soars, Milly. Thank you for that poetry, Tyler.
Lovely.
It's really lovely. Really, really lovely to sort of see. And that's literally, so many people have been on this with you the whole way. And every time you've hit record and lifted off, whether that was in the Great Australian Bight, or whether it was up in central New South Wales, sort of mid north coast of New South Wales, or central Queensland, people have just got those notifications or followed up when it's gone, and been posted. And it's just been such a trail of people following you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the support Like, it always blows me away. Like, because I'm like the one behind the scenes, it's hard to know what things look like from
the other side.
front end. You know what I mean? From the front end.
Yeah.
So how people interact with the project and what they get from it and the impact that it has for them. Like, it's really hard to know what that looks like or how people feel about it. So yeah, getting comments from people like Tyler's and Kathleen, who's on the screen at the moment. Oh, thanks, Bamboo Blooms. That's really sweet. Yeah, it just means the world to me. So and yeah, just knowing that, I don't know, just everybody today just so willing to support me in another crowdfunding campaign if I so chose to go down that path. Like, that's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is, but it's kind of it's a real testament to just the momentum that's been generated around the idea and around the project and the fact that there's so much truth and connection behind what you're doing, and that knowledge and that lifelong journey that you've traveled. This is authentic, Milly. It's not some sort of Red Bull kind of, I'll get in a microlight and fly until you run out of fuel, and whoever gets the furthest becomes, the 2023 super duper grand champion or something. Like, there's none of that in any of this. And look, Giovanni said, Milly, CCTV in China have heard of you too. So you've been reaching places that, you sitting in the cockpit and focused on the task at hand. Yeah, well, it won't be until you get to the end and literally the dust settles that you'll start to fully appreciate the width and breadth and the opportunity for that next stage, whatever form that takes.
Well, yeah, there's already talk of extending the adventure, like, and what that's going to look like. So myself and Chris, who did the Wing Threads documentary, which is still on iView if anyone wants to watch it, we've been talking to a group called Butter Media, and they're keen to do a 10-episode documentary series for kids based on about my flight. So we're really excited for that to take off and continue sharing the stories of the shorebirds far and wide.
I just said here, Milly, that we'll put if you can put a link, or I'll put a link to the iView, and if you can put a link to the book, just because a couple of people asked earlier on when I showed the book. They asked if we could put a link to that, and we'll put a link to the what was it? What was the title of the short doco?
It's just called Wing Threads. Mm-hmm.
Wing Threads, that's right. Yeah, because I remember I love the graphic, because it was Milly taking off, and then the word Wing Threads sort of came out of literally the airstream from the back of, and it was like, no, and you just, and I mean, I love it, because I've seen you take off and the thing just goes, just like that, and watching it take off, and then seeing Wing Threads get written across the screen, and seeing it on the big screen was that was really that was unreal, because it sort of just gave it stirred up what I've seen on the big screen, in the thing, because I've been in it, but also to see you when you do take off. So yeah, definitely check it out, everyone, and try and watch it on a screen bigger than that, because the doco warrants it. Well, how are we for time? You've got to get ready to go.
I got to get ready to go. Yeah.
Any final questions, anyone, just before we let Milly before we let Milly take off to the conversation, the talk tonight, please feel free to pop something in here.
Yep.
This is another great comment from Tyler. You've had a long reach with not only young people, but so many others to get up and about to see what shorebirds and other birds, for that matter, are around in local areas and afar. Top stuff, Milly.
Thank you.
Yeah, good on you, Tyler.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining in.
I've had a few people tell me they've started bird watching and even doing bird photography because they've met me on the way. So that's pretty cool. But I did have a message from one of the parents at which school was it? It was one of the schools in Cairns. I think it was Machen's Beach. She sent me a lovely message saying thank you for inspiring her son at the school, and he'd come home and had been drawing shorebirds ever since he got home.
Really?
That was sweet. Yeah, I love hearing things like that. It's awesome. Yeah.
We've got Mike and Lynn from Wellington. Thanks for joining us, Margaret. It definitely is inspiring. And Robbie Beale, thank you for joining us, buddy, from down in Gippsland.
Thanks, Robbie.
Have a nice trip to Perth from Rick.
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks for the update. Redlands 2030.
Yeah.
When's the next big migration, Milly?
When's the next great migration? Well, I'll think about it. I'll wait till I get back to Perth and let the dust settle, as you said before, and just keep those options open. But I am thinking of haven't ruled out doing the big international flight, if that's what Tyler's referring to. But we'll see what opportunities come my way. I'd like to just live a normal life and have. I was talking to my friend Tiff the other day, and she was saying she's having a bit of a gap year with work, and I'm like, oh, that's what I need. I need a gap year. So I think when I get home, I'll just have a year where I just, be a normal person for a year who has a 9-to-5 job and
just goes and watches,
does some
watches
knitting.
birds on a Saturday afternoon with a thermos and a biscuit.
That's me. Yeah, that's me. Yeah. Tea and books. That's my style.
Definitely. Go for it, Milly. What an inspiring tale you share. What's Spencer got to say?
Oh, thank you, Spencer. Yeah,
I
love spending time with you too. I'll have to get back over there and visit again, or you can come visit me in Perth and we'll go birding in Perth this time.
Oh, that's a nice option.
I've been meaning to call you, Spencer, see how you're doing. I'll give you a ring soon.
Yeah, lovely. And Margaret Tolkien, she's taken up hang gliding when she's 90.
Wow, that's fantastic. Do it.
And someone asked earlier, do you have any interest in hang gliding?
Oh, I had a go at it once with my friend Rory down in Newcastle, but I spent more time dragging the hang glider back up the sand dune to jump off again than I did actually getting any flight time. But it was fun.
What's this? Take two. They're small. Love your attitude. Yeah, definitely a gap year. Well, look, have a wonderful evening tonight, Milly. Yep. And thank you for an amazing update and for the wonderful news that Keith is Super K. He's got a big K and he's just like,
yeah, he does. I invited him to come on the live stream tonight and he said he was too shy. So
we'll nail him along the way. You can be doing one and just carry the computer to wherever he is sitting there in your campsite, and we'll get him on there, just like we got Mick. Mick was a superstar too.
Yeah, Mick is a superstar. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time. Thanks for a wonderful update, and we will do another one, I reckon, when you get down to Broome. I think that would be a nice point.
That's a great idea. let's do that.
And then I gotta. What's your on the current trajectory? And someone asked this before. What's your projected finish time in back at Whitegum?
I think end of September or early October. That's the plan anyway. So once I get to Kununurra, I've only got, I think it's 16 flight legs left to get home.
Wow.
Yeah.
16. I like that. Just 16. Yeah. Everyone's,
Well, that feels low
nice.
to me. Once I get to
Yeah.
Broome, 10 from Broome. How's that?
10 from Broome. Wow, 10 flight legs. And how many have you done till now?
40, 43. 42.
43
sorry,
and 16. So it'll be 60 flight legs.
60, yeah, in total, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but I think it's 61 in total. But if I drive from Darwin back to Kununurra, it means I will have missed 4 flight legs. But it doesn't matter. I think 4 out of 61. The drove, that's okay. Close enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I suppose flight legs vary, don't they? Depending on, but roughly 300 Ks.
Yeah, it can be anything from 100 to 300. Yeah. Longer in the sticks out here. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Milly, have a great night.
Thank you.
And
thanks, Scott.
From all of us here,
You too.
we will see you. We will see you in Broome.
Yeah.
If not before, if there's any other other opportunities, but we'll see you in Broome. Smooth sailing this week up in Darwin. Enjoy your time up there until Captain Keith arrives with the 4-wheel drive, and then onward.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. And thanks so much for your support, everybody. It means a lot to me. Even if I don't respond to everybody's messages, I read them and they keep me going. So really appreciate it.
Okay, Milly. We'll see you. We'll see you in Broome.
Bye.
See ya.
See you then.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.